The space around the blue planet lit up with explosions as energy beams cut through the darkness. The blue fleet was losing badly. Their ships, though well-built, were no match for the Red Empire's advanced weapons. Hundreds of civilian transport ships tried to escape the battle zone, carrying families who had called this sector home for generations. Admiral Tom of the Blue Defense Force watched helplessly from his command ship as another line of his defenders fell. His people had always been peaceful, focusing on art, science, and exploration. They never thought they would need powerful weapons. That choice was now costing them everything. "Sir, 3 more ships lost in Sector 7, reported his second-in-command, looking up from the glowing screens with fear in his eyes. "The Reds are pushing through our last defense line. We have less than an hour before they reach the civilian ships." Tom closed his eyes for a moment. In his 30 years of service, he had never faced such a hopeless situation. The Red Empire had appeared 6 months ago, demanding their surrender. When the Blues refused to give up their freedom, the Reds began their attack. Now, after months of fighting, the Blues were down to their last ships. "Keep the defensive formation tight," Tom ordered, his voice steady despite his worry. "Every minute we buy gives more civilians a chance to escape." He looked at the tactical display, watching as red dots moved closer to their position, while blue dots blinked out one by one. The Reds' lead ship, massive and covered in weapon ports, moved forward. Its captain's voice boomed across all communication channels. "Your resistance is pointless. Surrender now, and we might let some of your people live as our servants." Tom was about to respond when every sensor on his ship suddenly went crazy. A massive energy reading appeared out of nowhere, unlike anything their instruments had ever detected. Space itself seemed to tear open, creating a swirling blue portal bigger than any ship they had ever seen. Both the blue and red fleets stopped firing, all eyes fixed on this unexpected event. From the portal emerged a ship that made Tom's jaw drop. It was enormous, easily twice the size of the largest red vessel, but it moved with impossible grace. Its hull was smooth and dark, with strange patterns that seemed to absorb light. No visible weapons could be seen, but something about it radiated power. "Unknown vessel detected," shouted his sensor officer. "Energy readings are—" "Sir, the readings don't make any sense. Their power levels are beyond our ability to measure." The mysterious ship came to a stop between the two fleets. Its design was completely alien to both sides, neither the flowing organic shapes of blue ships nor the aggressive angular design of red vessels. This ship looked like it had been built by someone who followed completely different rules of engineering. "Sir, we're picking up transmissions from the unknown ship," reported the communications officer. "They're scanning both fleets, and they're accessing our public communication networks. They're learning our languages in real time." The Red Fleet commander, clearly unsettled by this development, fired a warning shot across the bow of the mysterious vessel. The energy beam, powerful enough to cripple a blue capital ship, hit some kind of invisible barrier and simply disappeared. Then, for the first time, the unknown ship spoke. Its message was simple but clear, broadcast in perfect blue and red languages. "This is Captain James Stone of the Earth warship Thunder of Dawn. We are here to investigate the source of the distress signals we detected. All ships are advised to hold their current positions while we assess the situation." The authority in that voice made even the red ships pause. Tom felt a strange mix of fear and hope. Earth. He had never heard of such a place. These humans, whatever they were, had technology that made both blue and red ships look primitive in comparison. "Sir," whispered his second-in-command, "do you think they might help us?" Tom watched as smaller craft began launching from the Thunder of Dawn, moving with incredible speed and precision. "I don't know," he replied honestly. "But one thing is certain. Everything changes now." In the distance, the Thunder of Dawn hung in space like a silent guardian, its mere presence holding back the Red Fleet's advance. For the first time in months, the Blues dared to hope. The game of power that the Reds had dominated for so long was about to change. and nobody knew what these humans would do next. Captain James Stone stood at the center of Thunder of Dawn's command bridge, his experienced eyes studying the holographic display showing both fleets. The bridge crew worked quietly at their stations, each focused on gathering data about this first contact situation. The ship's AI, Dawn, processed information at incredible speeds, building a clear picture of the conflict they had stumbled upon. "Captain," Dawn's calm voice filled the bridge. "I've completed initial analysis. The Blue Fleet appears to be defending civilian transport ships. Their weapons are primarily defensive in nature. The Red Fleet, however, is using banned weapons by Earth standards, including radiation weapons that cause slow, painful death." Stone's jaw tightened. He had seen enough war in his 30 years of service to know the difference between soldiers and butchers. "Show me the civilian ships," he ordered. The hologram zoomed in on the refugee vessels. Dawn's scans revealed ships packed with families, parents trying to protect their children from the advancing Red Fleet. Many of the ships were damaged, running on backup power as they struggled to escape. "Sir," called out Lisa from the communication station, "we're receiving multiple distress calls from the Blue Fleet. Dawn has finished translating them." She paused, her voice growing soft. "They're begging for help. The Reds have already destroyed 3 of their colony worlds." Stone walked to the front viewport, watching as several Red ships adjusted their positions, clearly trying to find a way around his vessel to reach the civilian ships. Their arrogance was clear. They hadn't even bothered to open communications yet. "Dawn, what's the status of the Red Fleet's weapons?" Stone asked, though he already suspected the answer. "Their weapons are hot, Captain. They're attempting to find weaknesses in our defensive shield. Their scans are primitive. They can't even detect our point defense grid." Dawn's voice carried a hint of disdain. "They're also moving smaller ships to flank us. Their tactics suggest they're used to overwhelming weaker opponents through brute force." Just then, a harsh voice boomed across all channels, the Red commander finally deciding to acknowledge their presence. "Unknown vessel, this is Commander Grimm of the Red Empire. This is an internal matter. Remove your ship or be destroyed along with these weaklings." Stone allowed himself a small smile. In all his years commanding Earth's most advanced warship, he had met many like Commander Grimm, bullies who mistook cruelty for strength. He nodded to Lisa, who opened a channel. "Commander Grimm." Stone's voice was calm but carried the weight of authority. "This is Captain Stone of the Earth warship Thunder of Dawn. Our scans show you're using weapons designed to maximize civilian casualties. This is a violation of basic sentient rights." A burst of harsh laughter came over the channel. "Rights? We are the Red Empire. We take what we want. Your ship may be big, human, but you are outnumbered 50-1. Move aside, or we will demonstrate true power." Stone turned to his tactical officer, Mark. "What's the status of our kinetic rounds?" "Ready, sir. Dawn has calculated perfect trajectories to disable their lid ships without causing catastrophic damage." Stone looked back at the hologram, where Dawn had highlighted the refugee ship's planned escape route. They needed at least 10 minutes to reach safe distance for hyperspace jumps. 10 minutes he would give them. "Commander Grimm," Stone spoke again, "I'm going to make this simple. Earth doesn't tolerate the slaughter of civilians. You have 1 minute to power down your weapons and withdraw. If you continue your attack, we will respond with force." The response was immediate. The Red Fleet launched a barrage of missiles toward the Thunder of Dawn. Before Stone could even give the order, Dawn's defensive systems activated. Invisible energy fields disintegrated the incoming missiles as if they were made of paper. "Dawn," Stone's voice was quiet now. "Show them what Earth can do." "With pleasure, Captain," the AI responded, firing demonstration shot. A single kinetic round, a tiny fraction of their arsenal, left the Thunder of Dawn at near-light speed. It passed through 3 Red warships, leaving perfect circular holes through their hulls before disappearing into deep space. No explosion, no energy beam, just clean holes through their strongest armor. The Red Fleet's formation broke slightly, ships backing away from the thunder of dawn. On the Blue command ship, Admiral Tom watched in awe as the human vessel demonstrated power beyond anything he had seen before. Stone looked at the stunned silence of his bridge crew. Their first alien contact had turned into a standoff. "Now then," he said, straightening his uniform, "let's see if they're ready to talk properly." The silence that followed Thunder of Dawn's demonstration lasted exactly 30 seconds. Commander Grimm's voice, now slightly less confident, came through the communication channels again. "A clever trick, human. But tricks won't save you or these weak blues. Red Empire ships are coming from 10 nearby systems. You have 1 ship. Do the math." Inside the Thunder of Dawn's bridge, Captain Stone exchanged looks with his tactical officer Mark. Both men had fought enough battles to recognize when an enemy was trying to hide fear behind big words. "Dawn," Stone called out to the ship's eye. "What do you make of their reinforcement claims?" The AI's response was immediate. "Their ships use a primitive form of faster-than-light travel, Captain. Even if they called for help the moment we arrived, it would take their reinforcements at least 6 hours to reach us. The commander is bluffing." Stone nodded, then turned to Lisa at communications. "Send a message to the Blue Fleet. Tell them to continue evacuating their civilians. We'll handle the Reds." He paused, watching as the Red Fleet regrouped into an attack formation and opened a channel to all Red ships. The Red Fleet was spreading out now, trying to surround the Thunder of Dawn. Their formation showed their experience in overwhelming single targets with superior numbers. Under normal circumstances, it would have been a solid strategy. "Red Fleet, this is Captain Stone," he began, his voice level. "Your demonstration shot was a fraction of our capability. We've analyzed your ship's weaknesses. Your shields cannot stop our weapons. Your armor might as well be paper. Your targeting systems can't even track our defensive measures." As if to prove his point, Dawn highlighted a tactical display showing exactly how many weak points the AI had identified in the Red ship's design. The number was staggering. Commander Grimm's response was to order his fleet to fire everything they had. The space around Thunder of Dawn lit up with energy beams, missiles, and exotic weapons that would have torn apart any blue ship. None of it even touched the human vessel's hull. Stone watched calmly as Dawn's defensive systems dealt with the attack. The AI didn't even need his input. Protective fields absorbed some shots, point defense guns destroyed missiles, and others simply disappeared into pocket dimensions created by the ship's space-folding technology. "Dawn," Stone said quietly, "show them what happens when we actually try." The AI's response had a hint of eagerness, targeting their secondary ship's weapon systems only. Firing. Thunder of Dawn moved for the first time since arriving. It was like watching a dancer perform. The massive ship spun and weaved between enemy fire with impossible grace. Each movement was precisely calculated by Dawn, making the huge warship move like a small fighter. The human ship fired precise shots, not to destroy but to disable. Each hit knocked out weapon systems with surgical precision. Red ships found their guns suddenly useless, their missile bays jammed, their energy weapons offline. Not a single shot killed anyone. This was a demonstration of skill, not brutality. In under 2 minutes, half the Red Fleet had been effectively neutered. They floated in space, unable to fight, but with life support and engines intact. The remaining ships broke formation, their crews finally understanding what they were facing. "Commander Grimm," Stone's voice carried across all channels again, "let me be perfectly clear. Earth doesn't want a war with the Red Empire. But we will not stand by while you slaughter innocent civilians. Here are your options. Retreat now and spread the word that this sector is under Earth's protection, or continue fighting and lose your entire fleet without taking a single life. Choose wisely." On the Blue command ship, Admiral Tom watched in amazement. The human ship had just defeated half the Red Fleet without killing anyone. This was power beyond anything he had imagined. Not just technological power, but the restraint to use it wisely. The remaining red ships began to turn away, their retreat looking more like a run. Commander Grimm's voice came through one last time, shaking with rage and fear. "This isn't over, human. The Empire will not forget this insult." "No," Stone agreed, watching the red ships flee. "It isn't over. But the rules of the game have changed. Earth has joined the galaxy, and we bring different values to the table. Remember that." As the last red ship disappeared into hyperspace, the bridge crew of Thunder of Dawn allowed themselves to relax slightly. Their first contact with alien life had turned into a space battle, but they had handled it without taking a single life. That alone sent a powerful message to both blues and reds about what kind of species humanity was. The meeting room aboard the Thunder of Dawn was unlike anything the blue leaders had ever seen. The walls seemed to shift with gentle patterns of light, and a large holographic display filled the center of the room with a perfect 3D map of the galaxy. Admiral Tom and his two advisors sat across from Captain Stone, still trying to process the incredible technology around them. "Your ship is amazing," Admiral Tom said, his eyes moving from one wonder to another. "We thought the Reds were advanced, but this," he gestured at the room, "we've never seen anything like it." Stone smiled warmly. "Earth learned long ago that true advancement comes from creativity and cooperation, not conquest. Dawn, please show our guests what we've learned about the Red Empire." The galaxy map zoomed in, highlighting hundreds of systems in red. The Red Empire has conquered 27 different species in the past 50 years. Dawn's voice explained as images of different alien races appeared. Their strategy is consistent. They target peaceful civilizations with valuable resources or technology. Admiral Tom nodded sadly. "They appeared 6 months ago. At first, they pretended to want trade. Then they saw our crystal farms." He touched a control on the table, and the map showed his people's worlds. "The crystals we grow can store massive amounts of energy. The Reds wanted them for their weapons." Stone leaned forward, his face serious. "How many free civilizations are left in this sector of space?" "Only 3, including us," one of Tom's advisors answered. "The Green Alliance and the Mountain Clans are still fighting, but they won't last long. The Reds take their victims' technology and add it to their own. They grow stronger with each conquest." Dawn's holographic display shifted, showing the Red Empire's expansion over time. "Captain," the AI said, "I detect a pattern. The Reds don't actually understand most of the technology they steal. They simply use overwhelming force to take what they want. Then their engineers copy it without understanding the principles behind it." Stone stood up and walked to the galaxy map. Earth's location lit up at his gesture, far from the current conflict, but close enough to matter. "This changes things," he said quietly. "We came out here to explore, to find new civilizations to trade and share knowledge with. Instead, we found an empire of bullies who steal and kill." Admiral Tom watched the human captain carefully. This was the moment that would decide his people's future. "Captain Stone," he said formally, "the Blue Federation asks for Earth's help. Not just for us, but for all the free peoples of this sector. The Reds must be stopped." Stone turned to face the blue leaders. "This isn't a decision I can make alone. I need to contact Earth's government." He paused, looking at the map again. "But I can tell you this. Earth has never been good at standing by while innocent people suffer. Dawn, how long to send a message home?" 3 minutes using our quantum communication array, Captain. We can have a response in 6 minutes." The blue leaders looked shocked. Their fastest communications took days to reach nearby systems. This was yet another sign of Earth's incredible technology. While they waited for Earth's response, Admiral Tom shared more about the galaxy's situation. The Reds had grown bold because no one could match their stolen technology. They didn't bother with diplomacy anymore. They simply took what they wanted. Dawn's soft chime interrupted the discussion. "Message from Earth Command, Captain." The response appeared as a hologram. Stone read it, his expression turning into a small smile. Well, Admiral Tom, it seems Earth has made its decision. We've been authorized to establish a permanent presence in this sector. The Thunder of Dawn will be the first of many Earth ships arriving to help restore peace. Admiral Tom felt tears in his eyes. You'll help us? More than that, Stone replied. Earth is offering full diplomatic relations with the Blue Federation. We'll share defensive technology to protect your worlds. In return, we want to learn from you, your culture, your science, your way of life. As the meeting continued, Dawn updated the galaxy map. A new color appeared, the soft blue-green of Earth's space. The game hadn't just changed, it had transformed completely. The Red had created their empire through fear and theft, but now they would face something they didn't understand. A civilization that grew stronger by helping others grow stronger too. The Blue leaders left the meeting room with hope they hadn't felt in months. Behind them, Captain Stone and Dawn began planning how to protect not just the Blues, but all the free peoples of this sector. Earth had found its place in the galaxy, and it was exactly where it needed to be. The Red Empire's reinforcements arrived exactly as Dawn had predicted, 6 hours after the first battle. This time, they came with a fleet 5 times larger than before. Over 300 Red warships filled the space around the Blue homeworld, their weapons glowing with stolen power. Inside the Thunder of Dawn, Captain Stone watched the enemy fleet's arrival with calm interest. The past 6 hours had not been wasted. The human ship had helped evacuate thousands of Blue civilians to safety and set up defensive positions. They brought their biggest ships this time, Dawn reported, highlighting several massive vessels in the tactical display, including their planet-killer weapons. They're angry, Captain. Stone nodded. As expected, bullies always bring bigger fists when someone stands up to them. Status of our upgrades. Combat optimization is complete. I've analyzed all their attack patterns from the earlier battle. Their tactics are predictable. They rely too heavily on their stolen technology without understanding its true potential. The enemy commander's voice boomed across all channels. A different voice this time, older and harder. I am High Admiral Bolt of the Red Empire's First Fleet. Your previous victory was luck, human. No single ship can stand against the might of our full fleet. Surrender now, and we might let your crew serve as slaves. Stone didn't respond immediately. Instead, he turned to his crew. Remember our mission. We're not here to destroy them. We're here to show them that the age of stealing and bullying is over. Dawn. Battle mode. The Thunder of Dawn's exterior change. The dark hull began to pulse with lines of soft blue light. Panels shifted, revealing hidden weapon ports that had been invisible before. The ship's energy signature multiplied as Dawn brought their full systems online for the first time. Now, Stone said calmly, let's show them how Earth fights. The Red Fleet opened fire all at once, enough firepower to destroy a small moon. But the Thunder of Dawn was already moving. The massive human ship danced through space like a leaf in the wind, each movement calculated perfectly by Dawn. Energy beams that should have hit them curved away at impossible angles. Missiles exploded harmlessly against shields that flickered in and out of reality. Their targeting systems are confused, Dawn reported with what sounded like amusement. They can't understand how a ship this size can move like this. Beginning counterattack. The Thunder of Dawn's response was beautiful and terrifying. Dozens of small drones launched from hidden bays, each one piloted by Dawn's split consciousness. The drones zipped between enemy ships, disrupting their formation. The human ship's main weapons fired with surgical precision, each shot hitting exactly where intended. Impossible. High Admiral Bolt's voice shook with rage. No crew can coordinate attacks like this. That's the difference between us, Stone replied finally. We don't just use our technology. We understand it. We improve it. Dawn isn't just a computer. She's a true AI, a partner who helps us reach our full potential. As if to prove his point, Dawn executed a maneuver that should have torn any other ship apart. The Thunder of Dawn spun on its axis while continuing forward, its weapons firing in a perfect spiral pattern that disabled 20 red ships in under 10 seconds. Not destroyed, disabled. Each shot took out engines, weapons, or shields, leaving the crews alive but helpless. The Red Fleet's formation broke. Their fancy stolen weapons meant nothing against an enemy that could think in ways they couldn't understand. The Thunder of Dawn moved through their fleet like a dancer through raindrops, untouchable and unstoppable. "High Admiral," Stone called out, "look around you. A third of your fleet is disabled. Another third can't even track our position anymore. And we still haven't used our main weapons. Is this really how you want this to end?" From his flagship, High Admiral Bolt watched in disbelief as the single human ship systematically took apart his fleet. Their most powerful weapons couldn't touch it. Their best tactics were useless against its AI-controlled movements. For the first time in his long career, he felt real fear. The Thunder of Dawn stopped in the center of the disabled red ships, its hull still pulsing with that calm blue light. Stone's voice was firm but not unkind. "This is humanity's message to the Red Empire. The old game of steal and conquer is over. You can adapt to the new reality, or you can watch your empire crumble one fleet at a time. Choose wisely." In the distance, blue ships watched in awe as the mighty Red Fleet began to retreat, leaving their disabled ships behind. The legend of the Thunder of Dawn was born that day. A single ship that changed the balance of power in the galaxy, not through destruction, but through such overwhelming skill that fighting became pointless. After the battle, Dawn made an interesting discovery while scanning the disabled red ships. The AI called Captain Stone to the analysis room, where three-dimensional images of red technology floated in the air. The room's walls displayed complex data streams that Dawn had collected during the fight. "Captain, you need to see this," Dawn said, highlighting different parts of the captured red technology. "Their ships are a mess of copied systems. Nothing works together properly. Look at their energy weapons." Stone stepped closer to one of the floating images. It showed the inside of a red ship's main gun. Even to his experienced eyes, it looked wrong, like someone had copied advanced technology without understanding how it worked. "Each piece is from a different civilization," Dawn explained. "They stole energy cores from the Green Alliance, focusing crystals from the Blues, and targeting systems from the Mountain Clans, but they just forced them together without understanding how they work. Like building a puzzle with pieces from different sets," Stone said, beginning to understand. "It might look right at first glance, but it doesn't fit properly." Dawn brought up more images. "Exactly. Their ships are powerful, but inefficient. They waste enormous amounts of energy because their stolen systems fight each other. Their shields flicker because the power distribution is uneven. Even their faster-than-light drives are dangerous. They could fail at any moment." The door opened, and Admiral Tom walked in. Stone had invited him to see Dawn's findings. The Blue Admiral looked at the displays with growing interest. "This explains so much," Tom said, pointing to one of the images. "Those are our crystals, but they're using them wrong. They're forcing too much power through them. In our ships, we use special circuits to protect the crystals. Without those, the crystals could explode," Dawn finished. "The Reds don't know this because they never bother to learn. They just take what they want and force it to work through brute force." Stone walked around the room, looking at more displays. "Show me their tactical data, Dawn. Their attack patterns." New images appeared, recordings of how the Red Fleet had fought. Dawn highlighted their movements, their formation changes, their response times. "Their tactics are just as copied as their technology," Dawn said. "They use attack patterns from different species without understanding the principles behind them. In the battle, they tried to use blue defensive formations, but their ships are too slow and heavy to make it work properly." Admiral Tom shook his head sadly. "All this time, we thought they were unstoppable because they had better technology. But really, they're dangerous because they don't understand what they're doing. Stone finished. They're like children playing with stolen tools. That makes them more dangerous in some ways, but also much weaker than they appear. Dawn projected a new image, a map showing the Red Empire's territory. Their whole empire is built on this pattern. They conquer a civilization, steal its technology and knowledge, then move to the next target. But they never take the time to understand what they've stolen. They just add it to their collection and force it to work. Stone turned to Admiral Tom. This changes everything. The Reds aren't winning because they're stronger. They're winning because everyone is too scared to stand up to them. But now we can see their weakness. Their weakness is their pride, Dawn added. They believe that having powerful technology makes them superior, but they never learn the most important lesson. Understanding is more powerful than possession. Admiral Tom looked at the human captain with new hope. Can this information help free the other civilizations they conquered? Stone smiled. Better than that. We can teach them what the Reds never learned, how to truly understand their own technology. Dawn, send this analysis to Earth Command and prepare a training program for Blue engineers. It's time they learned how their crystals can work with our technology. As the Admiral left to share the news with his people, Stone stayed in the analysis room with Dawn, studying the Red Empire's weaknesses. The next phase of their mission was clear. They wouldn't just fight the Reds, they would expose the truth about their stolen power. The empire that ruled through theft and fear would soon face its greatest nightmare. Educated and empowered victims who understood their own technology better than the thieves who stole it. 3 days after the great battle, Captain Stone stood on the thunder of Dawn's main observation deck, watching as blue ships worked to rebuild their defense platforms. Earth's message to the galaxy had been sent, and the responses were already beginning to arrive. The Green Alliance had requested immediate contact. The mountain clans were sending representatives. Even some worlds under Red control had begun secret communications. Captain, Dawn's voice was gentle. The transmission you requested is ready. All Red Empire communication channels are open. Stone nodded, straightening his uniform. Behind him, Admiral Tom and representatives from 3 other free worlds stood ready. This would be their message to the galaxy, not just from Earth, but from all free peoples. Begin transmission, Stone ordered. His image appeared on every Red Empire screen, every communication device, and every military channel. Even their blocked frequencies carried his words. Dawn made sure no one would miss this message. To the Red Empire and all peoples of this galaxy, Stone began, his voice clear and strong. I am Captain James Stone of the Earth Warship Thunder of Dawn. 3 days ago, your fleet learned that stolen power cannot match true understanding. Today, you will learn why. The transmission showed images of Red ships being repaired, not by humans, but by Blue engineers. The same ships that had attacked them were now being fixed, improved, and returned to working order. Your empire is built on theft, Stone continued. You take technology you don't understand and force it to work through brute force. You copy weapons without knowing their principles. You steal knowledge without learning wisdom. This ends now. The next images showed the thunder of Dawn's analysis of Red technology, revealing how inefficient and dangerous their stolen systems were. Dawn had calculated that most Red ships were operating at less than 30% of their true potential. Earth is extending an offer to all civilizations, both free and conquered. We will share our knowledge. We will teach you to understand your own technology. We will help you rebuild what was stolen and improve what was lost. The age of theft and fear is over. The age of learning and cooperation begins. Admiral Tom stepped forward to stand beside Stone. The Blue Federation supports Earth's offer. We will share our crystal technology freely with any world that chooses peace over conquest. Together, we will build something better than empire. We will build understanding. Representatives from other free worlds added their voices, each offering to share their unique knowledge. The message was clear. The future would be built on cooperation, not conquest. To the leaders of the Red Empire, Stone's voice grew stern. You have a choice to make. Continue your path of theft and conquest, facing opponents who truly understand their technology, or join us in building a better galaxy. The Thunder of Dawn was just the first Earth ship to reach this sector. More are coming. We offer knowledge freely, but we will not tolerate the strong preying on the weak. Dawn added a final display, a simulation showing how red ships could work if their stolen technology was properly understood and integrated. The difference was staggering. Your own ships could be 3 times more powerful if you simply took the time to learn instead of steal. Think about that. The transmission ended, but its effect was immediate. Within hours, 3 worlds under Red control openly rebelled, their engineers using Dawn's analysis to reclaim and improve their stolen technology. The Red Empire's greatest weapon, fear of their superior technology, had been broken. In his private quarters later that night, Stone received the first response from the Red Empire's Central Council. They requested a meeting to discuss terms, not for surrender, but for change. Dawn's analysis had shaken them deeply. The revelation that their mighty empire was built on dangerously unstable technology had finally broken through their pride. Dawn, Stone asked quietly, what are the odds they're serious about change? Based on their response patterns and the growing rebellion in their territories, they have no choice. The AI replied. The game has changed completely. Knowledge freely shared has proven stronger than knowledge forcefully taken. Stone smiled, watching as more ships arrived through hyperspace, vessels from other free worlds, coming to join the new alliance. The Thunder of Dawn's mission had evolved from a simple exploration into something much more important, teaching the galaxy that true power comes from understanding, not possession. The game had indeed changed, and humanity had changed it not through superior firepower, but through a willingness to share knowledge and help others grow stronger. In the end, that proved more powerful than any stolen weapon or copied technology.